Okay, thanks everybody for your patience as we get situated and started this morning. My name is Reverend Candace Shibata here at the Buddhist Church of Stockton, and it's May 23rd. There we go. And thank you so much. It's a beautiful day today, and I'm so glad that you're able to join us. And as always, we will be starting with the ringing of the concho. And remember, the concho is an opportunity for us, if you can recall, to quiet our minds and quiet our bodies so that we can prepare for the service. And I mention this often, but I always remember the concho being just our first signal of starting the service, and how that everybody would kind of quietly stop talking and everybody would get settled into their seats. So this is an opportunity for us to be able to do that even at home, so you can be even more comfortable and ready for the service in the comforts of your own home today. Okay, so let's begin with the ringing of the concho. Hey, thank you so much for sitting with me during the tolling of the bell. Next, we will have our opening meditation, which have been beautifully prepared every week by Mrs. Darlene Bagshaw. So thank you, Darlene.
Wrong one. Sorry. Wrong one.
Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandouts. 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 Thank you so much, Darlene. The slideshow was so beautiful to be able to remind us of Shinran Shoning's birthday and all of his teachings that we have today. So I really appreciate that beautiful slideshow. Okay. So we'll continue on with the sutra chanting of Jusei-ge. And Jusei-ge is translated as 3 sacred vows. So please join me at home in the chanting of Jusei-ge.
Please. That I don't care. You use that. You that. I want to throw anything if you don't get it.
Gagun chosegan ishimu jodon shigan fumanzok seifu jojogak gamuryokon fui daiseshu Fusai Shobingu Seifu Shogak Gashi Jobutsudo Myosho Chojipo Gukyomi Shomon Seifu Shogak Ryokujin Shonen Joei Shubongyo Shigumu Jodom Isho Tenishi Jiniki and Aiko Fushomu Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Gosai Shuyakunan Kaiichi again Meshi Konmoan Heisoku Showakudo Sudatsu Zen Shumon Kosojo Manzok Iyoro Jipo Nichigatsu Shujuki Tenkon Pugen Ishu Kaihozo Kosei Kudoku Chodai Shuchu Seppo Shishiku Guyo Isai Gusoku Shutoku Hon Kane Shitsujoman Tokui Sangayo Yobutsu Mugechi Tsudatsumi Fushon Gangaku Erik Toshi Saisho Son Shiganya Kokam Daise no Kando Goku Shotenin Touchi Myo Ken Namandabu Namanda Pyodo sei sai dohon modai ishin odio an dako. Namanda 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 Okay, so please join me in the recitation of the Golden Chain 2. Please join me by placing your palms together in Gasho. Golden Chain 2. I am a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to share my Dharma message for this morning. And my Dharma message was inspired by this book called The Art of Taking Action, Lessons from Japanese Psychology by Greg Creech. And this particular book has a wide variety of different articles, very short, very easy to read, very important information, I believe, for our everyday lives. It talks about Japanese psychology, which is Nikon and Morita therapy, which are featured kind of briefly in this book. But I did utilize this book as a book club book at the Buddhist Church of Florence, and we were able to get through the whole thing. So it was nice that we took action and were able to finish this whole book before I was transferred. And so I think our small book club, we were able to take a lot of helpful hints for our everyday life. And, even though we are talking about Japanese psychology, there's a lot of Buddhist tenets found in this book, since they're very similar in regards to taking some of the Buddhist aspects and bringing it into Japanese psychology. So this particular book was, I think, really helpful for me. And I wanted to share one particular chapter called The Price That Others Pay. And this was written by Linda Anderson Creech, which she is Greg's wife. Okay, The Price That Others Pay. So I wanted to first open with a quote from Linda, and she talked about change. It's hard to change, surprisingly hard, in fact. Even when we are crystal clear about the need to make a change in how we are living, we can easily slip back into an old groove in the blink of an eye. So I'll have to admit that I've tried to do certain things in regards to my health or journaling or other things that I've wanted to change in regards to my habits. And I think it's just a very difficult thing. Like Linda was saying, change is hard. Even though we talk about impermanence on a regular basis as a major tenet, we do acknowledge that change is happening all around us. It happens in nature, as we see even here, the beautiful cherry blossoms come and go from spring, and then they lose their leaves very quickly. We see it when we celebrate a birthday each year. Even maybe our hair color changes. My coloring has gotten a little bit gray, and I do change it by coloring it. But we see change, impermanence in our everyday lives. However, maybe sometimes changing a habit that we're used to doing, maybe out of convenience or just something that we feel comfortable with, that may be very, very difficult, right? Because as Linda said, we slip back into an old groove very, very quickly. Okay. However, I want to ask you, do you find yourself procrastinating? Maybe sometimes, often, on a regular basis? I have to admit that I am terrible with procrastination. And so if you too also procrastinate, I'd love to see you admitting that in the chat. And, I mean, obviously, I'm looking at the next quote here. Linda was saying that many of us prefer to tolerate the personal consequences and inconvenience that result from procrastination than to face the discomfort and disruption of changing our ways. So maybe some of us, we just operate this way. I think I've written a paper or two, kind of last minute, and maybe did okay because I was procrastinating. So she said, fine, it's our karma. So when we think about karma in the Buddhist sense, we think about our actions. And even the actions of other individuals, seen and unseen, in the past and in the present and even the future. So it's all of these things woven together, all of these conditions of our lives, of the people that we meet, just all of these different conditions. And that's our karma. Sometimes I get concerned that there might be this little misunderstanding about karma. So I think a lot of people, maybe outside of the Buddhist world, they might think, well, karma means if I do something good, then something's going to happen to me that's wonderful as well. Like if I maybe buy lunch for somebody, then I'm going to hit the lotto tomorrow. Or if I do something terrible, then something terrible is going to happen to me. So I think there is a little bit of confusion. It's all of these things all put together, and we may not know what outcome we're going to receive because of our action. However, it will have a ripple effect. So Linda was saying, well, if you procrastinate, right, that's okay, that's fine. It's our own karma. It's our life. It's our choice, right? Yes, the choice rests squarely on our shoulders, and it's ours to make. However, she did say this. There's consequences to our procrastination. Often we are not the only victim touched by our irresponsible choices and poor time management. Our day-to-day doings and misdoings impact those we know and those we won't ever know. Oh, sorry for the typo there. We won't ever know. So again, some of these things we will see how it impacts another person in our life, and maybe, quite possibly, it might impact somebody that we don't even know. So one of these aspects that she mentioned was rushing to different appointments, rushing to get things done. So Linda said, during these rushing moments, when we are trying to compress our work into the little time is left, our relationships with others can be strained and delicate. I think that was a typo too. The more rushed we are, the more we hone in on that goal and disregard everything else. And many mishaps can occur in our attempts to recapture a few extra minutes and reach our goal in time. So I think maybe these small little typos that I have in my PowerPoint, which I didn't catch earlier, might be a pure example of rushing. So in this moment of trying to get things done, we may be able to just really concentrate our own efforts on that particular project. However, we might not hear our little brother or sister crying in the background and may not be able to tend to them. We may not pay attention that maybe the water is overboiling on the stove because we're so focused and needing to get something done. So again, many mishaps can occur, just like my typos in my PowerPoint presentation. So that's one aspect too of procrastination and rushing, and all of these different things that could happen and how it affects our karma. So another aspect that Linda mentioned in her article is keeping others waiting. So when we keep others waiting, we are not being respectful of their lives. And so she equates this to like dominoes. Like dominoes, we can tip into each other, and with our lateness, setting off a wave of impact that we never get to see, even though we may have set the events in motion. So say, for example, this might happen, and that's why I never try to be late, at least for my appointments with others, like when we have a hair appointment. So if we have a hair appointment to get our hair dyed or cut or permed or whatever it is, if we run a little bit late, then that will make our stylist late. In turn, that will make everybody else behind us late. So it's like this ripple and domino effect, as Linda had mentioned. So that's something to definitely keep in mind as well. So Linda goes on to talking about things that we just don't have the time to get done, and there's a karma of things undone. Linda mentioned good intentions do not soften the impact of our failure to deliver. In some cases, the tasks simply remain undone, and in its place grows resentment, frustration, and disappointment. And so I think this can go both ways. If we have something maybe hanging over our heads, maybe a big project, a test, group work that we might have to contribute to, we may not be able to get it done. And so again, there's this ripple effect that's created, and Linda talks about resentment, frustration, and disappointment. And I believe maybe this can happen on both ends. Maybe on my end as the individual who couldn't get my work done, and of course, for those individuals in my group waiting for that work to be done. So just kind of think about some of these things of our own actions and how that creates a ripple effect. So I wanted to share with you, in addition to all my little other examples, the cost of my own actions, which was the inspiration for today's Dharma message. So with taking all of this into consideration, I wanted to maybe admit and confess maybe something that I had done yesterday that caused this ripple effect for others. So I woke up early. Yesterday was a busy day. I actually had 2 funeral services at Cherokee Memorial Park in Lodi. And so it's been a very unfortunate time to lose many members of not only Stockton Temple, but also Cortez Hawakai, the Buddhist temple of Lodi, and also the Walnut Grove Buddhist Church. So I've been relatively busy going to different cemeteries and different funeral homes in the area to conduct a lot of funeral services. And so because of that, I was rushing. Let me not share my screen for this time. So I was kind of rushing out, and I was a little bit worried about my timing, but I felt like I got things done in the morning. I was able to even tend to some of my chores at home, and packed up all of my things for both services, because one was at 11 a.m. and another one was at 12:30 p.m., both at Cherokee Memorial. However, when I got to the Cherokee Cemetery, the parking lot and all of the little alleyways were completely full. There were different services going on at that time, and the family member sent me a map to indicate where we were going to meet. And in my mind, before I even got into my car, I had envisioned where this was. However, when I finally got to the cemetery, I was all turned around. I couldn't even read the map well, because then I was getting very nervous, and 11 o'clock was approaching. So I ended up calling one of the sons, and unfortunately he didn't answer. So I left a message indicating that I was a little bit lost in the cemetery, and minutes were getting closer and closer to 11 a.m. And typically for memorial services or funerals, I like to get there at least a half an hour or sometimes an hour ahead of time, depending on how much I need to prepare in regards to setting up the altar. So this was just a small gravesite dedication. So I didn't have to do too much setup. However, I have never arrived this close to when it started. So then I was getting even more and more nervous. I finally turned the map around and turned myself around and made it to the location. However, since there were other services going on at the same time, I couldn't find a parking spot. So then if some of you who have gone to Cherokee know how narrow those roads are. So what I ended up having to do was exit the cemetery, go all the way around yet again to find another parking spot, but then walk over to where the gravesite was. So by then it's already 11 o'clock and I'm sweating and it wasn't even that hot, but I'm so nervous. So I quickly get all of my things into my rolling cart and I make my way to the gravesite. I'm unpacking and unfortunately everybody has arrived. And so I apologize profusely for making them wait. So I'm getting my robes on, just like this one today, my black simple robe, since it was a simple gravesite service, not like a funeral service. So I didn't have to wear all of my robes. However, what I forgot to do was take my wagesa out of my car. So if you can imagine, you might notice I look very different without my wagesa. And a wagesa indicates that we are followers of the Buddha's teachings. And of course, even ministers and lay persons, they can wear these as well. It's a little bit shorter for the lay individual, but it's called a manto shikisho. And we could all wear these to indicate that we're followers of the Buddha. So I'm even more nervous because in my rushing, in my haste, I forgot to wear my wagesa. So unfortunately, I was a little bit nervous and I could feel my hands shaking during the service. But luckily, the family was very kind and understanding. And we were able to honor their mother and dedicate that gravesite during that service. So I think that event was definitely on my mind as I was preparing for today's service. And I just, again, maybe wanted to admit my failure yesterday because of my rushing. So what can we learn from maybe this article, maybe from my own actions yesterday? And I think that these are wonderful things to remember. What can we learn? That we need to plan for the unexpected as much as possible, just like those different services yesterday at the same time that prevented me from parking close and also forgetting my wagesa. We have to make realistic choices. What can we do in the time that we have? How can we balance everything, all of our responsibilities that we have maybe in a particular day or as we forecast the week? We have to recognize that things take much longer than I expect them to. So maybe if we do have that group project waiting for us and we know, well, it's due in a month, I'll just wait to start it maybe the week or a couple of days before. I don't know if that's always going to work out for us. So we need to recognize maybe how much time and energy we need to actually put into our project. So we have to plan accordingly. Others will continue to share the cost of these mistakes with me. So again, we have to think about our karmic actions and how we, everything that we do, our actions, our thoughts, our speech, they definitely make a ripple effect. And be aware of our impact on others. And we have to remember how short life really is. Again, this is a major tenet in Buddhism that there's impermanence all around us. And we never know, again, when it might be our last breath, or maybe the last breath of our friends, our family, and of course, all of our loved ones. So we have to remember how short life really is. And maybe the bottom line, take action and do what needs to be done. So hopefully, with all of this in mind, we can really remember, again, this impact of our karma and how it impacts others as well. And maybe my personal example can help you not do what I did and rush and maybe wait till the last minute to drive somewhere, especially when I was so busy in the morning of that particular day. So I hope that this book might maybe pique your interest. And I wanted to just show it to you again. And maybe this might be something that we can talk about in another book club. So again, it's The Art of Taking Action by Greg Creech. And I really, really recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. And I believe that my Sangha members who were able to do so, they really enjoyed this book as well. So look it up if you're interested. Or if you'd like to borrow my copy, please let me know. Okay. So thanks so much for letting me share my personal story and a little bit of Buddhist psychology in regards to our Buddhist teachings with you today. So what I'd like to do is share my screen again so that we can read our pledge. So please join me by placing your palms together for our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandavats, 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 namandavats. Okay, so announcements. Let me bring those up for you. Okay, so we've been talking about the Young Adult Buddhist Association, and instead of meeting in person, they'll be having a virtual game night. Usually it was a pizza game night here at the temple, but we're moving that to virtual. So that'll be June 5th at 7 p.m. and it's open to all members of the Buddhist Church of Stockton Sangha. And please see the flyer that went out on May 3rd, 2021. And you'll need to RSVP to be able to get that link by May 28th to Dr. Linda Kawaguchi. And her email is lkawaguchi@comcast.net. So please be sure to email Dr. Kawaguchi so that you can get on the list as well. So there will be no service on May 30th. However, we will be having a Memorial Day service, virtual service, in lieu of the cemetery services. And that virtual service will be on May 31st at 10 a.m. And for those of you who already receive our service invitations, you'll be receiving that one as well. We will be having a Taste of Obon. So that's a virtual Obon Bazaar on August 7th. And then on August 8th, we'll have a pre-order drive-through food pickup. And so those details are being worked on, and we'll get that to our members soon. However, one component of this is our raffle. And so if you are so inclined to donate towards the raffle, we really appreciate your donation and generosity. Please make an appointment with the office manager, Nicole, if you would like to drop off your donation to the office, okay? Also, Sangha Club continues to do their recycle fundraiser. So please drop off your bottles and cans underneath the carport, and we'll be able to take care of them. And keep saving your box tops so that we can support our local schools when we reopen. And then I think I forgot to write it down here. However, we will be having a pet memorial. So for those of you who have lost a pet, you can still contribute your pictures, and we'd like to put them in the slideshow to remember and honor our beloved pets. And so please send those to Carrie. I think it's the Dharma School link. Is that correct? The Dharma School email? If I'm incorrect, please let me know. So please send those over, and maybe somebody can put it in the chat for our members to put it in. And so I invite all of our members from Stockton, Lodi, Walnut Grove, and Cortez to participate if you did lose your beloved pet, and if you would like your pet featured in our slideshow. Okay. Thank you so much for your continued generosity in regards to supporting our services in the temple through your donations. And you can donate by mailing in your donation. However, we do have a link on our temple website to donate directly online as well. So thank you in advance for your continued support. Are there any other announcements? I think there's distance learning today too. So Dharma School students, please stay on for your distance learning. Okay. Are there any other announcements now?
Reverend Candace, so on that one, I did put it in the chat, but if people are interested in having their pet included, it does take me time to put this together. So to be included in the Sunday service, if you could please send it by the prior Thursday, which is June 3rd.
Okay.
And then Carrie will gather them from the email and forward it to me. And then we will do our best to include all the pets that you'd like to recognize or remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, so please meet that deadline of June 3rd to give Darlene enough time. And as we were talking about, right, we don't want to have an impact on Darlene's preparation. So please send those in as soon as possible. And thanks so much, everybody, for your chats. I don't feel as bad. It looks like we have some master procrastinators in our Sangha too. I'm just looking at the chat. So thanks. I don't feel as bad, but we can do it. We can get it together. So thank you so much. Also, I wanted to give this opportunity to any of our friends who might be new to our service. If you would like to say hello, you can unmute yourselves at this time. Or if you'd like to say hello in the chat, if you feel a little bit shy, and that's okay, you can say hello in our chat. Any new friends, Dharma friends today? Okay. If you feel a little bit shy, that's okay. Maybe we can say hello to you next time. But I would like to conclude with my words of appreciation. So thank you, Darlene and Charlie Bagshaw, for logging in and assisting me with Zoom. Thanks so much for your attendance, everybody. Thanks so much, Tad Shibata, for your assistance with the flowers. Yeah. So thank you again for your attendance. Please have a great week, and we'll definitely see you on Memorial Day. Okay, so remember, no service on the 30th, but we'll see you on the 31st if you care to join me for our Memorial Day service. Okay, so thanks so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon. And Dharma School students, go ahead and continue to stay on. And all of our other Dharma friends, thank you so much. And you can log off at your convenience. Okay. Thank you. Have a great week.